Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about a powerful story of faith in action and how a particularly heartbroken community chose compassion over condemnation in what must have been one of their darkest moments. So, just a little trigger warning, our story today is going to start with a brief mention of an act of violence that occurred at a place of worship. I'm going to move quickly through that to get to the inspiring story that happened afterward, but I wanted you to be aware of that because it's important to always take care of your heart. So on September 28th, Thomas Jacob Sanford drove his pickup truck into the Grand Blanc Township Meeting House of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints in Michigan. You may have heard this story. It was absolutely gut wrenching. He drove into the church, opened fire, and set the building ablaze, and many people lost their lives during their Sunday worship services. There were 5 fatalities that day. From what I understand, there were 2 by smoke inhalation, 3 by gunfire, and then Thomas himself. 8 people were injured, and the building was heavily damaged and largely destroyed, as you can see that image there on screen. Now, that is the heartbreaking part of the story. Lives were lost, our community was shaken, hearts broken, and in the days that followed, something absolutely beautiful happened that I don't think anyone really expected. Instead of focusing only on the blame, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints turned to love instead. They saw a grieving widow. They saw a sick child with special medical needs that was left behind. And in a absolutely heroic act of compassion, they chose to help the shooter's family move through what must have been a very difficult time for them as well. It all started with David Butler, a fellow Latter day Saint from Utah. When he heard about the widow and the child that had been left behind, his heart stirred and he launched a Give, Send, Go campaign, which is very similar to a GoFundMe campaign. Not to excuse the tragedy, of course, or to undermine what the saints in Michigan had experienced, but to extend compassion to the shooter's family who was obviously hurting and now widowed and fatherless. LDS members and friends from around the world donated over $300,000 to support the family of the man behind the tragedy, not because they condoned what happened in any degree, but because they believe that compassion is greater than condemnation and that love is always stronger than hate. This, of course, is a radical act of kindness. Thousands of strangers gave what they could. A lot of the donations are only $5, but they add up. Many sent prayers, some sent money. Many wrote incredible and powerful messages of mercy and healing to this family, and they became the light right in the middle of what had to be one of their absolute darkest moments. I saw at least one donator reference this scripture, James 1:27, that says, "Pure religion is to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction." And it's so powerful to me that they chose to do this when their own members in Michigan were hurting and grieving the loss of their fathers and children and others who have sustained not only losses of family members, but also so much trauma that I can't even imagine. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. So while this was happening in Michigan, I was in my own service in my ward several states away, and I can't even fathom what kind of trauma and heartbreak that would inflict on our ward family. I am so amazed by the courage of these people who chose to look outward and to give in the middle of that heartbreak. I know that this story isn't strictly good news. It starts with something that is unfathomably evil and heart wrenching. But I love the way that this teaches us that even the darkest moments, even the most horrible things that happen, can be used to create good in the world. We are more than the circumstances that we experience. We are more than the sum total of the events and the things that happen to us. We have the power to choose to be good and to be light and to be generous and kind and long suffering and patient, even in the midst of unimaginable horror. And that's why I wanted to share this message with you today. I hope that there is something here that is encouraging and uplifting to you, even despite the heartbreak. I know that so many of my friends and family members, and including myself right now, are going through our own personal trials and struggles. So hopefully, something here empowers you to find the good in what you're going through and maybe even find a way to bless others in the midst of that struggle. I will be back soon with more encouraging news for you, and I hope you have a very blessed day.